All right, official welcome to our bonus all tribe group coaching live, originally scheduled for Wednesday, April 16th. Tech happens, Zoom wasn't working, so we moved it to today, Thursday, April 17th, right before Good Friday, the Easter weekend. So we have some relief in that markets are not open tomorrow, so we can just analyze and have a few days to digest. So, important reminder that trading and investing can be extremely risky business. Therefore, it's your responsibility to evaluate any information, opinion, advice, or other content contained in this session. And if you're here live, please type a D for disclosure that you understand the risks involved with trading and ready to focus on your learning. All right, appreciate it. I'm happy to welcome Dave from Washington. We've got Lawrence from Atlanta. Yes, we are recording, and if it comes through, we will be posting to the YouTube channel. I'll share that information here. So you can go to YouTube and type HimaReddy CMT, and that's where our channel is. We'll also send an email if it's a recording comes through, okay? Awesome. We have Barbara from Salt Lake, stocks trader, Joseph in New Jersey, who does some day trading. Good to see you, Chris. Chris P., one of my Blueprint mentorship students. Awesome. Hope you've been rocking those NVIDIA trades. Jeff, good to see you from Ohio. Ron from Chicago. Stephen from Singapore. Okay, I could keep going and going, but we've got work to do. So I would love you to do something for me so I have a sense of who all's here, okay? Because this is an all-tribe group coaching. We haven't done one of these in a while. So listen close before you answer. Please type the number 1 if this is your first time in a coaching environment with me. You don't remember ever being in a monthly group coaching or advanced monthly group coaching or anything like that. Okay, wow, lots of newcomers. And please type a 2 if this is at least your second time being coached by me. There should be a good number of both of these. Okay, amazing. Good blend to see of our alumni, veterans, if you will, versus our newcomers. So I'm going to make things really, really straightforward for you and make it very clear what's happening today. First, why am I doing this? Well, last weekend, I left town for a few days for a destination Indian wedding. It was amazing. I will share pictures later. But I noticed we were in this crazy time with the tariffs. I looked at the coaching schedule. I looked at my team. I looked at my personal schedule, and I was like, you know what? We need to all get together. So you're here, whether you have invested $0 with me in my education or many zeros worth, okay? And everyone in between. So I appreciate you taking the time to be here. Those of you who are live, we have over, wow, we have over 125 people in the room live and growing, and we have like 400 registered. Now, what we're going to do is what I do in monthly group coaching. However, I will be a little bit more relaxed because some of you are new. So I won't push you so hard, okay? I really want you to ask questions as per number 3 here. But if you're shy, you're new, you don't really know what's going on here, don't feel pressure to ask a question. If there's a gap in time between now and 5:30 Eastern, there's no questions, I will start covering what I think is interesting in the market. And I've started to review those charts. I have this list of 20 charts I go through in depth. I went through a bunch of them and I left a few untouched so you could see what I look at when I look at a fresh chart, okay? And all this time, guys, whether you ask a question or not, I really want you to pay attention to this one right now. Please listen in for what I call a golden nugget, okay? So towards the end, I'll start asking you to drop your golden nuggets in the chat, and those can be any sort of takeaways, right? Reminders about trade management, looking at how to use a certain tool, trading mindset, anything in between, okay? So please type a number 4 in the chat if you're committed to giving me at least one golden nugget if you receive it by the end, okay? Obviously, you could leave here and think this was a complete waste of your time. I hope not, but I want you to be a lookout, okay? This is an active session. All right. Now, again, because there's over 100 people in here, the chat's flying. You can all see it. This is how you're going to know I saw your question, okay? So I'm going to bring up, I'm on a PC, and I'm going to bring up the good old sticky note, okay? So this is it right here. See this little guy, this sticky note? He's going to be in my second screen. I will say your name if I see your question, and I will acknowledge what it's about. If you hear that, then you know your question is on my radar. It's in the queue, okay? So now is the time you can start asking questions. And for those of you who are newer, here's some tips on how you can ask a question, okay? So basically, if you ask me about a specific market, the more information you give me in a concise way, the better. So we have some veterans here, so they know what I'm talking about. But if you ask me about a market you trade, please don't give me a laundry list of tickers, right? There's lots of people here. I want to do first come, first serve and rotate. So let's just say your name is Bob and you have a question about Apple, but you also have a question about Amazon. Well, you pick one, okay? And you just type your Apple in the chat. But before you hit enter, if you were Bob, you would give me something about the ticker, initial analysis, maybe a trade you have on. I'm long from here, I'm short from here. I think this is a RSI pattern. I think this is a forecast, okay? The more you give me some meat, the better. But since this is an all tribe coaching, if all you drop is the ticker, I'll at least give you some basic insights. Is that fair? Please type Y in the chat, okay? I really want you to get the most out of this because market's gonna be closed tomorrow and we all need to take a moment and regroup because the craziness isn't going away. All right, terrific. Now I'm gonna start scrolling back to see if I missed any questions. Now is the time for you to enter your questions, okay? Again, if I don't see any, then I will just start talking about what I think is interesting and doing the analysis. Okay. So I don't think I saw any questions back earlier, so I'm getting scrolled up to the current times here in a moment. I just like making sure, other educators, they'll have like a team member or an assistant do this for them. I probably should work on that since more and more of you are showing up, but it's just me for right now. Okay, so Lefty asked about SPX futures. All right, so I will look at the SPX chart. Hank asks about PLTR. Beautiful question asking so far, guys. Appreciate the detail. Antonio is asking what indicators I use. I will come back to in a moment. Nicholas asking about Apple and asking about SPY. Chris Heath asking about Walmart. So I'm going to pause there. If you guys type more questions, that's fine. But if you haven't heard your name yet, then just kind of hold on. Let me get through these and then I'll come back. Okay. Think of me as sort of like a bartender. I can only make so many drinks at one time. All right. I'm going to go through these now and you're going to see, if you're new here, you're going to see how fast, but also I think effectively I'm able to help you. We're not going to go through all the life story of everything. We're going to just get right down to the meat of it. So what I'm doing is bringing over my TradeStation screen. So I'm getting out of PowerPoint, bringing over TradeStation, and bringing what I call my MGC live panel. So can you all confirm you see TradeStation now? Please type a Y in the chat. Rick, I see your question about TLT. Olga, I see yours about oil. Okay, great. So I'm just going to go for it. So I'm going to call on you so that you know I'm answering your question and dive in. All right. Lefty, I think you were asking about SPX. His question is, please spend a few minutes going over your market overview at this. I'm still listening and learning to see what your analysis is. Okay. So what I have is two main TradeStation desktops right now. A TradeStation desktop is like this window, and then each of these tabs is workspaces. What you see here is the one I use for my own trading each day when I trade, E-mini, SPY, volatility, okay? But then I have this other big mama that I'm going to bring over. And now you can see it starts with SPX on the bottom. So it has all the indices and futures. It goes into commodities. Then it goes into tech stocks and fixed income and Bitcoin, all right? You can ask me about anything that I can plot, but I'm just letting you know why I'm going to be on this screen for some things versus the MGC screen. So Lefty, are you with me? Just type a Y in the chat. There's so many people here that really want to get to your question if you're still here with me. Okay. So on the SPX, I see some really beautiful action here in that we have retraced and then bounced near the 50% retracement of the advance from October 2022. Okay, so everybody should be jotting that down. It doesn't matter if you don't trade the S&P or stocks directly. You need to know what the S&P 500 is doing, and this is the cash index. Now, this cannot be traded directly, but you can trade futures or options on it. I'm just going to talk about the underlying chart. So see how we went up to February of this year and we gave back about 50%. Now, there's a difference of about 16 points, but on a monthly chart, that's fantastic. And the month is not over, right? So April made a high, it made a low, and it's hanging out near the middle. So that's the monthly chart, and I'm going to go to a separate weekly chart. On the weekly time frame, last week was this beautiful looking bullish candle because it was green. However, we have not either broke above the high or even the middle of it. we're in a very tight range on the weekly chart. The RSI power zones. So this also answers the question, what indicators do you use? I currently only use one indicator on every chart. Sometimes, depending on what I'm studying, I have others I look out outside of TradeStation, okay? So I use the RSI power zones down below. This is introduced to all of you. If you're here, it means you got my winning RSI playbook. I mean, that's like 99.999% of you. So type a Y if those, that sounds familiar. Winning RSI playbook, okay? An ebook that explains what I did to the RSI. Now, many of you have the Bull Bear RSI face-off ebook where it shows you a strategy around this, okay? And then if you want the full Monty, where you get the indicator itself for all the platforms and my techniques behind it, that's in the 4 zones RSI coverage system. So I can type or say any of these out later, but I really want to focus on teaching, but I also want you to know where the education is. So if you agree that that's fair, that I'll teach, but I will reference the learning material, just type a Y. This is a coaching session. I don't want to be in like sales mode. But if I don't tell you where you can learn, I'm not helping you, right? All right. Now, Lefty, let's all look at this daily chart. Now, this is when I prepared a little bit, but just because I prepared a chart doesn't mean it has a million things on it. Same old RSI power zones, same old candlesticks, same big, beautiful 50% retracement, which we held by 16 points. But look at this. This is a problem, guys. Look at this trend line from April 19th of 2024. Yeah, that's exactly a year ago. April 19th, we're about a year ago, to August 5th of 2024. Anybody remember what happened on August 5th? What that day was? Yeah, that was that yen carry trade that wiped out a bunch of markets. Everyone tanked that day, right? But then we lifted up from it. So if you connect the August 19th low to the yen carry trade low, it not only was beautiful for supporting the consolidation right before we got the tariffs announcement on April 2nd at 4 Eastern. Look at that. It also provides a great barrier now. So this is, to me, the level to watch on the SPX. It's that rising trend line. Now, here's the thing. If you were to go take a technical analysis exam and you call this a trend line, they'd slap your hand and say, it's not a trend line because it's only 2 points. It doesn't have enough confirmation. But here's the thing. What I'm looking at is how is price behaving around it, and is price treating it as a sensitive area. So back here, it was holding above it. Then it broke below and it's not able to get above. Okay. So that's my take on SPX. Lefty, is that good? Do you have any follow-up questions? Let me know. That's my answer. All right. All right, so next question was, and I'm going in order of the ones that were asked earlier. So if you just came into the session, welcome. I have been taking questions. I'll let you know when I'm ready for the next round, like at the bar, when the bartender's ready to take the next order of drinks, okay? Not quite yet. So if you drop them in, that's fine, but I won't see them right away. Okay, we have now a question about PLTR. So I'm gonna go back to my other window here for monthly group coaching, okay? And here, what I do is I always do a top-down analysis time-wise. So we'll type in the ticker symbol. So Hank, are you with me? Please type one in the chat. Okay. I want to know if you're still here before I answer your question. Okay. So we have PLTR and so Palantir, and quick perspective for me. Okay, this stock has run up. Look how beautifully it's pushed into the bull resistance power zone. That's all I need from the monthly chart. Weekly, I'm just changing the time frame of the chart. Guys, if you're not using RSI power zones, you are just leaving all this beautiful information out there. What do I mean? Who feels like they're new to RSI power zones? Type a Y. New. You're new to RSI power zones. You're still getting your bearings with it. Okay, then we're going to do a little exercise. It's hindsight, sure, but it still reinforces the beauty of this. Palantir was asked by your peers, not by me here. Okay, so everyone follow along. Look at how, and I'll just put these, I'll put like a yellow vertical line for each of the markers so you can relate back to it. Let's just change my settings. So here we go. Look at how beautifully in January of 2024, the week ending January 5th, we lifted from the bull support power zone. Okay, it revisited a couple weeks later, and then shares went higher. Then it pulled back again, came back to the bull support power zone. Bull support power zone. See how the bull support zone was holding. Okay. Then the market started going higher again. This time, though, it didn't come back to bull support. It was getting stronger. It made a trough ahead of bull support. That means this market was picking up upside pace. Please type a Y if you visually see that. When the RSI can't get as low as it had been in an uptrend, it means the price action behind it is getting stronger. Okay. Now look at how it blasted off. And look, it touched the bull resistance power zone, but we don't sell just because we hit bull resistance. Because look what can happen. Boom. It was just a brief pause, dipped again, and then went higher. If all you did is stay long on Palantir last summer and fall, while the RSI kept pushing into the bull resistance power zone, you would have seen it clear from like 30 to 70. I'm not making this up, right? It's right in front of you. And let me explain, the RSI is not an indicator that repaints itself. Whatever it plots and is official yesterday stays. It doesn't readjust. So once the candlestick closes, the RSI does not repaint. The value stays in place. Please type a Y if you understand that. Okay. I was just at a big summit last week called Well 365, great event. And many of you maybe came from that. And I saw lots of speakers, and some of them have indicators like me. And it's very important to know which ones repaint, which ones don't. I can't speak for anyone else. RSI doesn't. Okay. So there's a question, how would you know when to sell? Why would you want to sell in any of this? If you're a buy and hold, you would just hold. If you're a day trader, you just keep exiting. And on the lower time frames, you'd manage your trade. I'm just trying to make the point that the RSI power zones, even on the weekly time frame, is extremely valuable, right? Okay, now let's finish this out on the daily chart. Now let me explain something too for anybody asking questions. If you don't give me a specific time frame with your ticker request, my default analysis will be on the daily chart. I'm happy to go to a lower time frame, so just put that in your question. So if we go back to example of Bob, somebody named Bob asking about Apple, he could say, Bob, Hima, please look at Apple on the 60-minute time frame. No problem, okay? But I'll just go to daily unless you go further in your request. All right, so now where are we? I mean, just beautiful. Bull resistance, bull support, bull resistance, right? Bull support. Now here you can say, well, it didn't hold bull support, it pushed below. Yes, that's why we can't just blindly sell and buy between the zones. That's why we need the patterns with it, right? So what I'll say here, Hank, is that right now Palantir is in, to me, a sideways range. So a sideways range doesn't have to always have like textbook shape. It can just be that two other price ranges are holding the action. So the low from January 13th is holding the action, and the high from January 19th or February 19th is holding the action. That's it, okay? There's no divergence. There's no positive reversal. There's no signals here right now. Nothing. Nothing. It's just in a dance. I would, at the bare minimum, want to see a break on a closing basis above the March 25th high to expect a return to this range. If you don't get that, then I think it's more likely that there's some sort of pullback to the April 7th range. All right, Hank, that's what I got for you on Palantir. Let me know if you have any follow-up questions. Okay. So there is no bearish divergence evident here between these swings. There's something called a minor bearish divergence back here. That's an advanced RSI power zones concept. But having the RSI up here and then a lower peak down here, that doesn't make a divergence. It has to pair with the price action. And I teach that in the 4 zones RSI. So whoever's saying there's divergence, go back and double check your lessons. And if you don't have the 4 zones RSI, now might be a good time to dig into it. All right. All right, I'm going to try to pick up pace here so I can answer more questions, okay? So Antonio, I answered your question about what indicators I use. If you have follow-up, let me know. Nicholas is asking about Apple. So Apple, I have on a big old chart in my Outlook panel. So the question is, went short on Apple before tariff relief and holding, what do you think? All right, Apple. Monthly chart of Apple. You know, the price probes and spikes that I teach in 4 zones are one of my favorite ways to discover support and resistance. If you're in this session now and you use the price spikes and probes, price highs and lows, swing highs and lows for support and resistance, type a Y in the chat if you find it useful. It's like so much better than only trying to find retracements or projections or past highs or past lows. It gives you this clear area. So check out, Nicholas, how in the April of last year, again, a year ago, isn't it funny that we're back to levels from a year ago on many markets? We came in with a test in the middle of that, 171.22, we got to 169.21. Hello, that's $2 difference on a monthly chart. That's insane, right? Now we're lifting up. Oh, I shouldn't have done that because here I have a separate weekly chart. All right. Now here we go, weekly chart. So this one I haven't used cleaned up in a while. So it has a bunch of old stuff on it. If I do any longer term forecasting, I think we may have overshot the time. So guys, in this session, just so you know, there's all levels of students in here. I'm going to demonstrate everything. I'm not going to hold back, but I'm not going to teach it from scratch. Okay. If you want to learn it, you can go learn it in the course. So I'm like literally catching up. This isn't for show. I haven't done this analysis yet. Ooh. Okay. Based on what I just saw here in the weekly, I think Apple is poised to move lower. Let's go in the daily for more detail. Now I have a bunch of charts. This looks like an old yucky chart. This is a cleaner chart. Let's use this one. Okay, we overshot the target, covering on the latest cycle, overshot as well. I still think there's room to go lower. I just think it might take some time. I don't know how else to say this, guys, except over the next several trading days, I generally think things will move lower, stocks, indexes. However, you have to look at the intraday levels on these because there's a lot of consolidation action happening, okay? So I'm going to now go to 60-minute because I want to see the insides of this. See how in the 60-minute chart we had red zone, oversold, red zone again, and we're holding. So Nicholas, you said you're short before the tariff action. So you're short from somewhere back here, right? Like April 2nd-ish. If you didn't take any profits yet, you may want to start lowering your stop. Like you would definitely want to lower your stop to at least break even or above the April 14th high. Because until the market moves below 183 on Apple, it's still got room to move higher. I think it will go down first, but I don't have a crystal ball. So if it goes back above 212.94, that's not good news for your short. But if it goes down below 183, trail your stop down. That's the best I can say without knowing more about your details, but you did a great job asking your question. Does that help, Nicholas? Please let me know. Okay. All right, guys, we're almost halfway through, and I'm going to keep going and do my best to answer as many questions as I can. But I want to say that, I hope you see how I'm not just answering your questions. So I'm going to go big on camera for this one. All right, you're seeing me in my full post gym. I did shower, but just didn't get all styled up, okay? I'm taking your questions and I'm turning them into lessons for everyone. I hope you see that. Please type a Y if you see that, if you feel that, right? It's not just this person and their ticket request. It's like, oh, here's the concepts being used. Here's the why behind the trade management. Here's the reason behind the bullish or bearish bias. Okay, I appreciate you sharing that because I don't think everyone does this. Like not every educator has this skill, frankly, but I do, so I use it, okay? So let's keep going. All right, so Anne typed SPY. She didn't say anything else. So we'll look at SPY, but I won't go too deep on it. So here's my SPY weekly chart, okay? Every week, I post a report on the weekend on the SPY, unless I'm like on vacation or something, which isn't that much. Even if I'm just traveling for work, I'll post it. So what I do is start with my own analysis. So what you're seeing here is my personal weekly SPY chart. And right now in the weekly chart, the only edit I have to make from last week is removing the 37.5% retracement. But look at the freaking SPY chart. We came down to 481.80 and the 50% retracement from October of 2022 was 480.67. I mean, come on. Okay, thanks, Glenn. Thank you, Helen. I appreciate your kind words. All right, so let's go now to the daily. Now notice, because these are my personal analysis charts that I tie directly to my trading, I keep them separate and I keep them big. I put one chart per tab. That way I don't have to keep minimizing and maximizing. It's exhausting, okay? Now, daily chart. These are my forecasts, my Gann drives. Again, I'm not going to teach it all now. If you understand the tools, you know what you're looking at. But I got to add one more in. All right. So when it comes to forecasting and the overshooting, that's where your missed pretty points flowchart helps. So do we have any loss forecasting students? You can type a Y in the chat if you have that course. Okay, this is a great time to study up your missed pretty points flowchart. So let me point you in the right direction because I am this year slowly but surely going through every one of our courses and restructuring them. I'm not putting a bunch of new stuff in there, but I make it easier to navigate. So if you go to loss forecasting, okay, now in the all training section, just like in 4 zones, you have these tabs you can go to at the top, okay? And you can also search by topic. So I'm going to test myself here. I'm a little nervous. I don't know if it's going to work, but let's type the word missed and see if I get the missed pretty points flowchart. Trading missed pretty points, inverted cycle, regular cycle. Great. So I do have videos about that. And the flowchart is among these lessons. I'm trying to remember which lesson it's in. Gosh, I just restudied this, but it's in your cheat sheets. That's the important thing. Okay. So missed pretty points flowchart is very helpful these days because the cycles are getting manipulated more. They're not following the forecast as precisely, but they're still giving you useful information. All right, so and for the SPY, what I'll say here is everything that's gone on the past several days has been within the range from April 9th. And look, yesterday we held the midpoint, today still above it. So that's that. Now I'm going to update this 240-minute chart for my report, but I still, just like on Apple, I think we're more likely to move lower, but I think we have to get below 509.32 to really be confident in that. And I haven't marked the level yet because I am not doing the report. If on the other hand, we get above 547.07 first, there's room for recovery. We're just sideways. I mean, there's just no two ways about it. How do you know? Because you look at something and you see lower highs. You look at something and you see higher lows. We're sideways. Okay. So if anybody's new in here, just type your questions in the chat. I won't be looking at the raise hand feature, and I'm not going to be handing the microphone to anyone. So if you have a question, I saw your question because I called your name, and I'll go back through and grab more in a second. I'm almost done with my initial list, okay? So it's better for you to wait for me to ask for the next round of ticker requests than drop them in, because think of it as like I'm turned and I'm making drinks at the bar and you're behind me and you're shouting your order. I can't hear it, okay? So if I haven't called your name yet, just hold still. I'll take the second round request soon. Okay, Chris P, you with me? My blueprint, Chris? Okay, I'm checking first. All right, so his question is about Walmart. So we'll just start getting it loaded. Oh man, my throat. Okay. And we're gonna get the computer glasses on now so I don't get strained. Okay. Chris P, are you with me here? Please type on in the chat. All right, thank you. So Walmart, he said, looking at Walmart, but struggling to find a good forecast on it. Okay. Well, here's the monthly chart. So just like everything else took a beating, but not as severe as some other stocks, right? When you just look at the move relating to its last extreme low, it hasn't retraced that much. Changes to a weekly. Big, beautiful, bullish engulfing candle last week. Okay. All right. I think I have to sneeze or something, so I'm just going to go off camera for a second. I'm still here. This is the troubles of having a tickle in your throat. Okay. Sorry. I feel a little better now. All right. Also, the week we had ending March 7th provides resistance. So I want to kind of look at how it's battling between these two ranges, okay? Lifting from bull support. However, look at the longer term moves, right? Let me just use this level here. Low, higher low, higher low, higher low. So this concerns me a bit, Chris. I don't know if we really want to, I don't know what forecast you're looking for, bearish or bullish, but this is still in play. Now, if I go to the daily chart, I can nudge that if I wanted to and recreate it. And guys, let me just PSA, okay, public service announcement. If I do things on here, I apply forecasting, I do nano candlesticks, I do Gann patterns, and you're like, oh, that's it. She's demonstrating it so easily. I'll figure it out. And you go home and you try to do it. I can almost guarantee you will lose money. Either don't use the tool or invest in your education first. Trust me, my dad and I, we tried to hack everything. Okay, we're Indian. We're looking for a bargain. Okay, and we tried to hack everything. And the times when we attempted that, we got scarred. When we actually sat and properly learned and had coaching and guidance, it was able to work. So I can't stop you. I can only warn you. So please type a Y if you hear my warning. You can see me do all the things, but only do the things you have training on. All right. And if you're not ready for that, I totally get it. You can come when you're ready. Okay. All right. So Chris, there's no, except to watch the current pullback, which I don't even think is necessarily going to get as far down. I don't think there's a forecast on the higher time frames, but let's take this to intraday for a second. Yeah, it's just, I think it's going to head up from here based on how it's behaving. But I don't think it's going to head up that far. I think we're limited to probably 95, 96 before another pause. So for you, let's just go to 60-minute really quick and see. Yeah. So if I just take away and go on intraday forecast, this is it. But I just don't believe. Okay. I have been forecasting for long enough, guys, that sometimes I have a sense when I think it's going to actually play out. So I can draw forecasts, but like I can have an idea of how much it may take me. Okay. So Chris, this is about as far as I can think we can go. I think more likely to stop at 95, 96 if we retest, but apparently there's potential for 107. And this one's off the intraday chart. You got it? Before I move on? I'm going fast for you because I know you're a advanced student of mine. Okay. Awesome. Okay. So I have two more questions in the queue, and then I'll look and see who's asked questions. So just give me a second, all right? I will answer Rick, TLT, Olga CL. So if everybody can just pause on the Zoom for 1 second, then I'll come back and get the next round of questions, okay? Just pause on the chat so that I can catch up. TLT. All right. So this is 20-year bond ETF. And so we're just going to talk about the yield chart that's here, okay? Not the actual bond market. So Richard, are you still with me? Please type Y. Yes, I see you actually right now. Okay, great. So you said TLT has been going down. Any sense of how that will go up? Weekly is monthly sideways. Weekly is down. Daily is down. I don't think this is going much higher anytime soon. I think you're going to revisit the range from January 14th again before it resumes. Why? Well, look at all this action in the red zone of the RSI power zone since December. It's held it pretty much every time, just a little test out, right? Now, it didn't always go back to the bear zone, but right now it went lower than it had been for a while, recovering and tilting lower again. So I think we're on our way to the bear zone. I think revisiting 86 or 85 on this chart is going to happen before a resumption higher. Okay. So if you have a follow-up question, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to keep moving. I have one more in the queue, and then I'm going to catch up on the other questions. Okay. Olga's asking about oil. So that's on my other list here. Oil monthly chart. Oil, guys, it's just been sideways for forever. It's like the most boring thing on a week monthly chart. Check this out, right? On a weekly chart, very similar, boring, except that it started to go a little bit lower after the tariffs action, but still not defeated the range from May of 2023. So when I draw things on the continuation chart of oil, they'll shift around because oil futures change contract front month every month. So I just have to renudge this, but it looks like maybe it has room to recover further, but I don't think it's like a new uptrend. I think maybe we get back to $67 in the next few days, maybe 66, 67 before another potential move lower. Okay, I'm trying to speed up and give you now my sort of like gun to the head. I know it's a bad phrase, but like if I had to make a quick analysis call to serve you, what would I do? Okay, so I'll still teach, but I want to get through as many questions as I can because I can only stay a little bit later. I don't want to be too long. All right, so let me come back through. Now, you guys have understood now there's like 200 people in here today, which is great. So I can only answer so many questions in so much pace. So I'm going to scroll back. I'm going to say your name if I'm getting your question, okay? I'm going to try to do this in order of people asking. So just stay put for a second. Okay, Rich C, I see your question about BABA that you asked a while ago. A couple that came in the way. Jim, I see your question about RSI indicators. Rajesh, I see your question about NASDAQ 4-hour chart. Steve, I see your question. I'm not sure I'll be able to answer that. I don't really know if that ticker is, but I'll double check, but just so you know. And a 2-minute time frame, I'll try, but just we'll see what happens. Okay. There's a question, how do I draw the support zone on my RSI? So these are built in if you have the indicator from me. If you want, you can try to manipulate your relative strength index on your platform. But it's just easier to get the 4 zones course from me where I provide the indicator for all the top platforms. It's also available in wealth charts now. So Fisayo, I think that's your name. If you have questions about that, you can email our support team, support@himareddy.com. if you want to get the indicator if you haven't already. All right, Julio, I see your question about IWM. Stephen, you had a comment about Forex, but it wasn't a specific question. And Tiyawna, I see your question about TD. All right, so I think I'm almost ready with my second batch of questions here. Julio, I see your question about ticker selection. Bob, I see your question about GAM books. And Jim, I see your question about NASDAQ 1 minute. Mark asks about Bitcoin. And John asks about VRT. Hank asks about retracement levels. So I'm saying your name so you know your questions in my queue, okay? There's a lot of questions about NASDAQ short-term time frame, so we'll definitely do that. Okay. Great. Thank you. Okay. Oh, thank you, Glenn. He says, by the way, your presentation at Wealth Charts last week was fantastic. Thank you. I appreciate it. I like redid the whole thing from scratch, so I'm glad you appreciate that. Okay. Olga, what does what mean to me? If you're typing disjointed, I can't follow back to what you wrote. All right. And Glenn, is your question about Tesla. Okay. Bartender has full hands now. Okay. So if you didn't ask a question yet, just hold, well, I don't even know what word I'm saying, but I'm going to get through these and we'll keep going. All right. Let's go. So Baba. That's going to be back on my plain panel here. Notice I'm always going to go to a higher time frame chart, get my bearings, and then address the question. Okay, so Rich has a put in place on BABA. So you're looking for downward action, right? And right now you're getting some weakening. This is the monthly chart. And there's support, but it's not till way down here. So the month ending January. Simple enough, okay? On the weekly chart, again, I just took that same chart and changed the time frame. The weekly equivalent bar is down here. So this is another way when I'm trading and I'm pulling support and resistance from different time frames. You can just layer on top of each other. And I don't need different weights of lines to represent the different time frames. I can just see them thickening up. See how down here it's already thicker because it's a weekly low and a monthly low? Please type a Y, everyone, if you see that. This is the simple way to do top-down analysis instead of like, oh, my 5 size line means monthly and my 3 size line means weekly. That's just, I can't keep track of that, okay? All right. Now, as for resistance on the weekly, we have this price high back here. So I use blue for resistance, pink for support. That's just makes it easy for my brain. And now on the daily chart, we've been recovering. So we had a move lower, a little recovery, a move lower. So this little move here from March 27th to April 10th was its own little down leg, and we retraced about half of that. So based on where this is right now, Richard, I think that if it gets, so I'm just talking about the underlying, right? You can adjust your options trade, but if the underlying gets above 118.87, that's the post gap high from April 4th, then I would be concerned with a put because I think we have more room to run upside. But I don't actually think that's more likely. I think it's more likely we continue lower, but that's the level to watch to protect your trade. Does that make sense? Please type a Y if you have follow-up questions or if you are getting that. Okay. Okay, awesome. So guys, sometimes my analysis answers to you are not about like targets. It's about how to protect based on what you're currently doing. This is why if you tell me if you're currently bullish or bearish, I can give more insight, okay? There was a general question from Jim. Do you discourage students from using any other indicators with your RSI? No, Jim, there are students who use others. So if you are here and you successfully, happily use another indicator with the RSI power zones, would you guys type it in the chat? I'll read them out. We're all family here. We're all trying to help each other's trading, okay? So there's no super secrets or anything. So I'll type some that I also am looking at. I just don't always use them every day. So I've started to dig into wealth charts, sort of like fundamental data. It's not really an indicator, but for stock recommendations, they have really cool scanners. Okay, so those are one. I also use TradingView Moneybell, which my friends over at Profit Run make. It's very cool indicator that I've even seen my coaching students use on an intraday basis. So you can use it with anything, okay? But remember, the RSI is measuring momentum. So if you are measuring momentum with the RSI power zones, I recommend that your other indicators are measuring something besides momentum. That could be, there's lots of things. Volume, breadth, not like breath like your mouth, breadth like participation in the market, okay? Sentiment, how bullish and bearish are people? I mean, there's lots of others, okay? But those are a bunch, and momentum is among them. So if you're going to use other indicators, then just use things that are complementary as opposed to using like 6 different momentum indicators. And Quan asks, is RSI 4 zones a leading indicator? Yes, it generally makes a peak or trough before price does. So people object about this, and let me make it clear. RSI is calculated from price action. But just because something's calculated from price doesn't make it lagging to price. It depends how it's calculated. Moving averages by design lag. They turn after the price does. That's just the way they're designed, okay? But they're also on the chart. They're not a subchart indicator. So RSI is leading. Okay, great. So there were a bunch of you have questions about the NASDAQ. Shall we go a little deeper on the NASDAQ? Who would like a little, like, let's get really intraday on one chart right now. So won't necessarily take long, but we're going to go super intraday, okay? I'm going to go through multiple intraday timeframes. Okay, great. Here we go. So NASDAQ, I believe I have my own set of charts here. I do, okay. I used to publish analysis on this complementary to the ES analysis, but I wasn't trading it, and it was just really taking a lot of time in the mornings, so I stopped. But I'm aware, okay? I look at the NASDAQ. So here we're going to do. We're going to look at the continuation contract first, then we're going to go down to the intraday time frame, all right? And then I'll continue to answer any other questions that were not about the NASDAQ. Monthly. Notice on the monthly. This market retraced more than the others compared to their 2022 lows. So tech is showing a bit more weakness than the broad market. Just keep that in mind. But we also have possibility, right? April's not over for RSI power zones to hang out in the bull sport power zone. We won't know until April 30th. So don't try to call where the RSI is going to land until that candle finishes. Here is the weekly chart of the continuation contract. We have a range from a couple weeks ago that's providing resistance. We have last week providing support, and we're just dancing around in between. Now here is the contract chart. Okay, so similar resistance support levels, but I'm just going to take everything off, and I'm going to do something so that you know that I'm not like faking here, okay? I'm going to close my eyes, and I'm going to change the time frame and scroll back. So I'm going to do this the best I can. Ready? Time frame, and as soon as I hit 60, I'm going to close my eyes and scroll back. I don't know if it changed. I'm going to try. Oh, it did. Okay, but it didn't really scroll. Dang it. Okay, let's try that again. I'm going to go to 15, and I'm going to scroll back. All right, closing my eyes. I can't know any of this history. All right, so let's just pick a random point in time. I'm trying to get more. Okay, here we go. Random point. So on this 15-minute chart from this segment here, I'm just going to do analysis for a minute or two as we're intraday, and then I'll move it to 5 minute, then 1 minute. Does that sound good? I can't do every possible time frame under the sun, guys, but I can do the popular ones. Okay? All right, so on this 15-minute chart, just snapshot here, we had weakening, and look, the RSI had a beautiful bull bear RSI face off. You have the ebook, you know what that is. You have 4 zones, it has a different name, but it's the same concept. Please type Y if you see that. Bull bear RSI face off. Gorgeous. Bear resistance power zone. Okay. I don't know if the chat's frozen, but something happened. So I'm just making sure you're all here. Okay, great. Now, from that, the market weakened. Okay, great. So now I'm going to act based on what's happening here. Lower price, lower trough. So downtrend still in motion. However, I would observe the most recent high to see if and when price breaks above it. Okay. Just going sideways, just going sideways. This is an area for resistance. If there was a short-term sell opportunity, this might be it. The thing is, I don't like how oversold we are, but still, this would still be it. Okay, look, and how we're dropping, right? Held resistance, drop. Whoa, really dropped. So I talk about a short-term sell here, and the market dropped. And this is history, and I didn't look at any of the details. Please type a Y if you understand, guys. This is different than me scrolling back, seeing what happened. I have no idea. I can't. My eyes were closed, okay? And this isn't today. This was yesterday and the day before. All right, then what happened? Okay, no bullish divergence, just got really oversold, got a beautiful harami pattern here. So now I'm like, if I was trailing this stop, I would have gotten, or trailing this trade, I would have gotten out to above this bar here, okay? So if I would have gotten out here, I would have watched for retracement. Now is retracement of this last leg down. Ooh, beautiful 50%. Looks like a low risk sell area. And it did provide another sell opportunity, but it was only to one final retest of the low. Now here is a very important question, pop quiz for you all. Is this an RSI bull bear face off, a bullish divergence? Yes or no? There's only one right answer. Put it in the chat. So right now I'm in the NQM25 in TradeStation. Okay, so it's a little bit of a trick question. Great. Those of you who are saying no, that shows me you're looking at price too. So you cannot trade the RSI power zones in a bubble. You have to always look in for the price action. So sure, we had a lower trough and a higher trough, but price had to have made a lower low, and it didn't. Plus, I teach you in 4 zones, the location of the zone makes a difference to the intensity of the signal. Okay? So if any of you said yes, that was a bullish divergence or bull bear RSI face off, be sure to restudy your 4 zones lessons and always be looking at the price and the RSI power zones. We're not trading like this. This is not the main character. I think the kids talk about main character energy. Your main character energy stays with price action, always. There's no main character like price. Oh, I sound like an old auntie now, don't I? But I was just at a wedding with a bunch of 20-year-olds, so picked up some of the language. Okay, now let me change the time frame again, and let's do this on like a 5-minute or 3-minute, okay? So I'm going to change this and scroll back and just see what I get. 5. Okay, so I have to hold it. So now I'm going to scroll. Okay. Okay. I'm really trying to not know what went on. There we go. Now I have no clue. Okay, no clue. So this is a 5-minute chart. By the way, is this helpful when I'm going back and I'm not looking at something that's current and showing you the signals? Please type a Y. Okay. I'm scrolling. It's not going to be perfect, guys, if I'm doing something blindfolded. Come on, give me some slack here. But I'm scrolling back enough that it wasn't the thing that loaded on the chart, right? So I can't know what happened right after. Okay. Now, on like something like wealth charts, which I'm just trying to learn, you can use a feature that goes back in time and reveals the bar one by one. Okay, but I still have to learn how to use that. All right, so what do we have going on here? Ooh, let's see. 18,45375, 18,45275. What signal do we have here? My RSI Power Zone students. Classic textbook. Any guesses? Yeah, that's right. So positive reversal. So this is a situation where you can use the RSI to calculate an upside target. Okay, I won't do that now for the sake of time, but beautiful. And it went higher from there. And you could have calculated this as early as this candle when the trough formed. Okay. So if you're not hearing me when I say positive reversal, negative reversal, and you're not sure what that pattern is, again, go restudy in your lessons. So that led to upside as it would. Now, looks like there was a bearish divergence, 66.03. Nope, 65.55, no divergence. That's why you got to check the values. Actually, sorry, 66.03, 65.55 is a bull bear RSI face-off. All right, in the bear resistance power zone, offensive, potential room for a short. What would it have looked like if you went short here? Again, intraday trader, okay? This is the end of a trend. It's a little aggressive to go short here, but let's say you did. At the low of this yellow mark candle. Oh, you would have been stopped out a little later. It was a short-lived signal. Oh my God, the trade got stopped out. That's why you have risk management, right? Okay. No more divergence, continuing higher, pulling back. So this is just really beautifully trending up. And you could have been buying on the pullbacks if that's in your plan. For example, this one here, although the deepness of this pullback is less exciting, but look at how beautifully it came to the middle of the price low, boom. And then you combine that with your forecast, which you can do on short-term time frames. That would have given you a nice realistic target. All right. So in the sake of time, I don't want to go too much more, but I'm now going to just end on a 1-minute chart. And I'll try my best to scroll back. Ready? All right. I did scroll, my eyes were closed. So let's just look at what was here and what we lead into. Downtrend, bear zones dominating, bullish divergence, bear support power zone, classic defensive signal. This is when you can also start to bring in your pretty trend line. So loss forecasting students, you know what I'm talking about. This is the great trend objective assessment tool, right? So this one would have been like that. And that green is hard to see. So let me get it darker. So that would have helped you with your exit, right? If you were back here to manage the trade. Holding bear zones. I know I saw this area already. But look how beautifully it held the bear zone and resumed lower in the 1 minute. Do you see that, guys? Type Y in the chat. I'm just pulling up random recent price action. I could not have this all laid out for you. I'm just encouraging you to study and apply the indicator. You already paid me for the course. I don't get anything else out of it. It's up to you. Don't let it collect dust on the shelf. Use it. Okay. So let's finish out with the last request here. And I see the time. So I would like you guys to start sharing your golden nuggets. I understand that some of you have to leave. I'm going to be sticking around. Oh my God, I'm so hot, sweating. Okay, I'm like so passionate here that we don't have the AC on. I have a window open and I'm sweltering, but it's okay. So I would very much appreciate is before you depart, you share your golden nugget, your takeaway, your lessons, your reminders, anything. Okay? Appreciate it. And I'll continue to answer these questions that did come in. I'll go faster though. So there were a lot of you asked about NQ. So if you have follow-up questions, let me know, but I'm going to consider Rajesh's question and a couple of these others as addressed, okay? The ones that were on NQ, because you were just asking about different time frames. Okay. Thank you, Gary. Appreciate it. He says, thank you, Hima. I have to leave. As always, your teaching and coaching is right from the top shelf. That's the kind of bartender I try to be. Thanks, Gary. Top shelf only. Okay, Lefty says I need to restudy my lessons. I still restudy, and I'm the one who made them because I want to make sure that I didn't lose track of some specific thing I set out, even though it's in my trading plan, right? So my trading plan, I print out and I keep in this folder, green for cash money. And I keep it there and I pull it out and I look at it and I put it back. And every time I trade, I literally have a paper plan. That doesn't mean it's everything in the world on there. Sometimes I forget little basic rules or whatever. Okay, so awesome. Golden nuggets are being shared. Joe says another example of confluence of analysis aspects to make a forecast. Yes. Okay, Fizayo, I answered your question about the power zones. So let me ask you a question. Those of you who are newer here, you typed the number 1 when you were early in. Do you feel you have a little bit better understanding of how my analysis actually applies to real markets. And if not, let me know what your questions still are, okay? Cool, Penelope says, establish a plan and stick to it. Yes. Okay. Okay, so there's a question here. I usually day trade IWM. Sometimes I win, sometimes I lose in options. I would like you to tell me what ticker you recommend to use with less to invest and the most profit relative winning in your experience. Okay, so I don't know anything, Julio, about your account size, where you're located or anything, right? But let me say that let me say that if you are trying to trade the micros, so the IWM is an ETF, right? Then there is the Russell futures. And I think there's a mini Russell futures. So let's just type it and see. MRTY. No, there's not a mini. Is there a mini Russell, guys? I don't know why I can't remember at this moment. This is when I get too hot and I forget things. But there's the Russell futures. M2K, Andrea says. Okay, let me just try that. If I don't get it, I don't get it. It's fine. We can lose symbol lookup later. But basically, I can't tell you what to trade without a better understanding of your account size and risk reward. So Julio, you can also send that question of yours to support@HimaReddy.com. All right. And you can tell them Hima said to send this question. Normally, I wouldn't answer something like this at the support desk because I can't answer everything that comes through. But send that question there. I can look at it more. Okay. All right. So this is the mini Russell, but is there a micro Russell? That's what I'm wondering, because I don't trade it, so I would have to look it up. Okay. So Tiyawna asks, I'm currently holding NIO shares. So let's just go back here really quick. I don't think I know what NIO is, but Tiyawna, are you still here? Please type a Y, because if not, I can't, answering your question is only going to go so far. Okay, great. You're here. NIO. So you're holding these shares. I don't know from when. This is less than $5 stock. So I don't know what your game plan was here, but it's continuing to remain depressed. So at this point, I don't know what your goal was. I wouldn't trade a stock that's like under 25 bucks personally, because it's just too illiquid. But I'm not a big stocks trader. I manage stocks for my family and I trade futures. So you can also post these questions in our VIP Facebook group in your forums, guys, and your fellow traders can ask. So obviously I'm here, I'm answering your questions, okay? But I'm just showing you, I can't do this 24/7. There's only one Hima, right? And I reserve most of my time for my S&PH Pro members who are getting my research and coaching every week and my mentorship students. However, most of you here all of you have the winning RSI playbook. That I can guarantee, okay? So it's in this portal like this. If you haven't downloaded it yet, you have this either in your 4 zones or you got this, okay? So I'm just going to put this winning RSI playbook. This is the login. This is not to purchase it, okay? If you want to join our Facebook group, technically you need to be a member, but if you're watching this recording or you're here, I will give you the link. So if we go to the 4 zones system and we go to the new to Experientify guide, that's where the information is about our Facebook group and our community. So Tiyawna and anybody else, we have multiple ways you can ask questions. There's a forum inside the portal, okay? So the forum should just be loading. There it is. So this is the 4 zones forum. This is the introduction tab I'm going to put in the chat. So you don't have to use that chat. You can also post charts. You can share feedback, all right? But the Facebook group, the URL is right here. So if you guys want to join, it's right in there. You will be able to ask questions. Your peers will answer. And I do keep an eye on it. But like I said, I can't answer every question that comes at day and night, okay? There's a question, what's your ticker selection for next week? So I'm trading the same thing day in, day out. I'm trading E-mini S&P 500 futures when I trade. But if there's a watch list you have, then I would use the RSI power zones to see if there's a setup on it, if that's what your MO is, or whatever is coming up as a setup. So if you're a member of the 4 Zones course, then you every month can come to a session like this and you can ask me your tickers. And there's a lot less people usually. So we can definitely get through everyone's questions. I'll still get through everyone's today, but I'm just letting you know. Okay. So Bob asked, do you have a recommendation for a good GAN reference book? Let me, I'll come back to the charts in a second. I just want to say hello and see you all here. So the question is, do you have a good recommendation for a GAN reference book that begins with the basics and develops from that point? Well, funny you should ask, Bob. I wrote a book on GAN's works. So my book, I feel, is good for a beginner or an advanced person because it kind of goes the full circle. So you can email our team for more help. Okay, so email support@himareddy.com. But if you go to himareddy.com, like my actual main website, so I'll just drop that here in case you want to know what that is. Then you go to products, you can see everything I have. There's descriptions, and these are all the retail prices. If you're in my tribe, which you are, because you're in the session, then email us and we can give you the best pricing we possibly can, depending on what's available at the time. But the book that I'm talking about is this. It's an actual physical book. Okay. So go ahead and do that. If you guys put in membership for the Facebook group, we check that a couple times a week and then we'll let you in because we also have to check the profile you're asking for permission to join under versus your purchase profile. It's only for paid members. So if you haven't paid for something, it's going to take longer. I'm breaking the rules and letting some of you in. Okay. So if you just give it a few days and once you're in, okay? Okay, great, Bob. Hope that answers your question. So it's called the Trading Methods of WD GAN. So I'll type that WD GAN book, and you can email support@himareddy.com for the thing. And you can say, Hima said to email from Bonus All Tribe Coaching. Okay. All right, Mark, you've been here patiently. Are you still here? We'll look at Bitcoin. Mark's been around for a while. Mark, yes, I do have courses for GAN. Thank you. See, I told you I'm not in like sales mode now. I'm in coach mode. But here are my 2 courses that I would say are most GAN focused. So the first one I made was actually GAN trading patterns, which was about the complex patterns on the chart. Okay. This is the closest to the original GAN material, but my take on it and my experience making it really easy to apply. Then later I made GAN candlesticks trading system, which is literally taking each candle and squeezing more out of it. So both of them focus on price action. So let me answer this question about Mark on Bitcoin. And then would it be helpful to any of you who knew I can do a 2-minute tour of like all my products? That's just a quick diagram. I actually have it. I forgot, but I have it ready. Okay. All right. So let's just go with Bitcoin really fast because Mark's advanced. He doesn't need a lot of hand holding here. All right, Mark, Bitcoin, boom. Uptrend, corrective pullback in motion, even on the monthly chart. You know me, I don't like super long-term forecasts, but we can draw them as a guide and just gonna give ourselves some idea of where things are headed in terms of timing, especially. All right, weekly chart. Oh man, that long-term forecast was beautiful for calling the high. Beautiful. And now, how is it for where we might be pulling back to? Sweet. Okay. Guys, if you're not forecasting, you are also leaving information on the table. Like, I can't put everything in one thing unless I made that course a year long. And that's just not, to me, that's overwhelming. So I'll show you in a second the order I recommend, but you can also just get this or get that, whatever resonates with you, because they're teaching separate things and they layer. So there are people here like Mark or Chris P who like have been through more than one of my courses and doing well with it from what they share with me, and they can speak to that as well. Not to put them on the spot. I'm just saying they're real people who are here. It's not just me saying it. All right. So Mark, back to the bull support power zone on the weekly. Not able to close below the 50% retracement. That's good news for Bitcoin. So first important resistance level, 88,804, right? From 2 weeks ago. Or I would say, yeah, 88,804. Now let's go to the daily, which is a separate chart. This is where I have my fans. So these are just fanning trend lines. They're not like GAN fans or anything. And this is reinforcing that I think we're building up a base in Bitcoin again. However, it's got to get a daily closing break above 88,804.64 for me to get excited about it. Yeah, weekly RSI is still in bull support. Look at it right here. It's just been there for months though. That's the thing. It's not a signal on its own until it starts to exit. All right. So you have the level to watch, Mark. Okay, great. And then I would watch this entire doji support from April 7th. Cool. All right. So some of you asked if it would be helpful. So any more golden nuggets y'all are sharing? I want to hear them on the way out. And I will continue to answer some of the questions here. So one question is, how are you grabbing your retracement levels? So Hank, what I do is I take the Fibonacci retracement price lines on TradeStation and I kind of just hack them so that it's only giving me 50%. So if I go and edit inside, there's room for a million other different price levels, right? But I just want 50%. When I do use the other levels, I use what are called Gann eighths. I don't use Fibonacci. It doesn't really matter. You can use Fibonacci or Gann, frankly. But I grew up with Gann education, so I use Gann eighths. I know Fibonacci. I know Elliott Wave. I almost worked for Bob Prechter. That's a story for another day. So I know all the things, but I use eighths. Okay, so you could take any fib tool and just turn on and off the settings there. Okay, so there are two tickers I didn't look at, Tesla and VRT. So let's do them super fast, super fast. Tesla for Glenn. Tesla looks like this right now on the monthly chart. Very ugly. On the weekly chart, we're still hugging this range from October of last year. So that's good. That's been holding its support. I'm not convinced, though. I'm not convinced that Tesla's damage is done. And again, you can see I haven't looked at these charts in a while, but I'm going to just clean up the mess. Support and resistance for 15-minute Tesla. Okay, well, I can't just go from daily to 15. I got to go daily to 60. Here's resistance. Here's support. So 275 and 215, call it. And then 15-minute chart gives me the next level in. See, because the markets are fractal. It's beautiful, right? So that 60-minute chart and this 15 looks so similar. So next level resistance 262. And back here 217.80. So Glenn, there's your levels. Okay. Okay, awesome. Helen says, great refresher for many different tools you teach. This forces me to look up your tools again. Great. Randy says, like the top-down analysis, trendline RSI, do you use any moving averages? So in the 4 zones RSI coverage system, I teach a moving average filter that is a useful guide. So it's in this trend filter EMA's lesson 1.7, moving average filter. Here we go. So this is the lesson, okay? And so I'll just put that lesson there. So if you have it, you can study it. And remember, you get points when you study your stuff. But it's more like, to me, like training wheels for a person who's very new to trading and wants help with the trend filter. Otherwise, I prefer you study trend by looking at the relationships between highs and lows. Does that make sense? The question about, Randy, the question about moving averages? Sure, there's system in there and I have it, but I think the best thing is just looking at price highs and lows. Okay. Okay. One more for John. John, you've been waiting so patiently. Are you here, John? John P. still here? If so, we'll do VRT for you. Okay. All right, he's still here. You guys are troopers waiting your turn. I appreciate it. Okay. What time is it? All right. I was traveling, so I have people coming to clean my house in a little while, which may sound like, oh, fancy, but I have to put away everything from my suitcases. It's all over the place, but I'm good. We'll hang out for a little bit more. VRT. Ooh, so this was in a nice uptrend, high or low, big outside bar, lots of volatility, weakened from bull resistance and broke below the August 30th low, which was this probably the uncarried trade low, right? Now we take that on the weekly chart. Oh, look, it broke below on an intra-week basis, but did not sustain an intra-week close for 2 sessions. So guys, this is a very Hima thing, okay? If a support breaks, so like back here, you'd be watching this 62.40, right? And then here you'd be like, oh, it broke with this candle right here, this red one. However, if it can't stay closed below that level for 2 sessions, I don't really think it's a meaningful break. See how here we've already closed back up? Please type a Y if you guys see that. This isn't like a formal lesson anywhere in my teachings. It probably needs to be someday. But this allows me to not get shaked out and faked out. And now look, we're just hanging out. So it doesn't mean we can't resume lower again. It just means just because you break a support level doesn't mean the market's falling out of bed. That's just the first hint, okay? All right, guys, I'm going to finish up. I've taken all the ticket requests. I'm staying late. I've just finished the last one that came through. So I'm going to now do my little recap of the products I have, and then we'll wrap up, okay? Because I did all the ticket requests and questions that came in before the end of the session at 5:30. So I'm proud of myself that I did that. Okay, here we go. So this is just a very simple tour, nothing elaborate, no links, no nothing, okay? If you're interested in any of this stuff, you can email support@himareddy.com. My team will help you by Monday, maybe a little bit tomorrow. Tomorrow's Good Friday. Technically, we're closed, but I think they're going to check on a couple things, okay? So here we go. As you know, I approach the market with a trifecta. I look at 3 main things. Price action is the first. It's not necessarily the first I introduce to you, but it's the first thing I see. So what do I have that teaches price action? I'm going to show you the individual things that are part of the trifecta, and then I'm going to show you the course progression, okay? So the S&P Edge Pro I put in the category of price action because it's literally me analyzing E-mini futures, SPY ETF, doing live trading on Tuesday mornings, and that's a monthly membership. And that restarted last June, but before that, I used to write the reports in a very cryptic way. I wasn't revealing all my secrets. But now that the people in that are, you know, paying their dues every month, which is still reasonable, but it's just a monthly thing, my reports are everything I see in the market that day. Everything. Every forecast, every momentum thing, every pattern. I don't hold anything back. And it's been pretty good. We've been bearish for weeks now, okay? So that's my intraday analysis, weekly analysis, and live trading. Everybody understand? Type Y in the chat. You can get more details off the website. I'm just giving the overview. So it falls in price action category. Now, a mentorship, I put in the price action category because I'll just say, I will take what's in your brain and work with you to figure out a trading plan, just like this. I've done this for dozens and dozens of traders. Some of them are here today, and some of them have shared testimonial videos, comments, all that. I'm the only one I know who does this. It's a lot of work, but you end up with an asset that you know how to iterate and use, okay? So that's what happens in a mentorship. We build a trading plan, and then I work with you for 3 months or longer, depending on the mentorship, so that you actually have time to trade and adjust it. Technically, the mentorship is called the Blueprint Mentorship. That's what we have there. Now I have these products that are focused on price action, which I mentioned earlier. Gann Candlesticks talks about individual candlesticks, not like many, many bar patterns, maybe 2 bars max. And I like get inside the candle. I apply my Gann techniques to the inside of a candlestick. Gann trading patterns used to come with these precursor books as well, okay? And I focus on multi-bar patterns there, and this is much more sort of traditional Gann trading analysis. Neither of these are Gann forecasting analysis. I went to the Gann seminars. I signed NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, that I cannot reteach what I learned there. However, the forecasting I teach, I do have a license to teach, and I'll talk about in a second. So this is everything I have that's like price action focused, not really other tangential. This also is the book, which again is related a lot back to the Gann course, okay? But this is a physical book. It's like, I don't know, 200 pages or something. Let me see, do I have it here? Yes, I do. Okay. Oh, you see me flying away? Okay, here you go. Oh, all right, I'm lazy to get out of my chair. Wow. This is the book. So it's an actual book. See, it's like lots of pages. I'm just showing you it's not an ebook, okay? Now, Momentum. Yay, RSI power zones. This is pretty straightforward. I have the 4 zones RSI coverage system, which generally people are introduced to first by getting the Winning RSI playbook and then the Bull Bear ebook. These are all different. There's more and more and more the more you go deep. Winning RSI, what's my twist in the RSI, and how do you generally follow it? Bull Bear ebook, which people buy for $97, but it's $7 when it's on sale, is a strategy around the indicator. And then the full course is what includes the coaching with me like this once a month. Other courses also invite you to this coaching, okay? Now, last but not least, on the momentum front is advanced RSI power zones. So I made this course 2016, 2017. I updated it in 2021. And that spring, I made the advanced course. It's a whole other bunch of stuff that you can do with the advanced, like looking more at the RSI power zones deeper, okay? I don't recommend getting this before this. I recommend getting them together or getting 4 zones first. And then last but not least is forecasting. So for forecasting, I have Lost Forecasting Trading System. It was almost lost. That's why I named it that. This is not GAN. This is another trader, gentleman from the South who was like on his deathbed. I learned his techniques. I wanted to license them, but he was literally like dying and didn't care. So he sold me his life's work because his family, nobody cared. It would have literally been gone. And now I took it and amplified it. The original publisher of his work saw my course and was like, you basically like 10x'd it, okay? And then there's an advanced loss forecasting, which is an extension of what's in loss forecasting. So now you're like, well, these are a lot of things, Hima. What's the pathway? Boop, boop, boop. There you go. Little arrows tell you. I recommend you start with the 4 zones and the indicator because indicators kind of just help. They give you that extra angle of price action. If you want to amplify and get as good as the best traders I've ever had, then you should follow my research, even if you just follow for a few months, guys, because you're going to see day in and day out the application, okay? You're also going to see me using it in live charts every week on Tuesday mornings. Now, I put mentorship early on because I personally have seen that students who have at least these courses or at least 4 zones can do very well in a mentorship, but it's not for everyone. So if you were to continue on the path, let's say you get 4 zones and you get my research, or you just get 4 zones and you only want a course, loss forecasting. Next would be GAN candlesticks. Next would be GAN trading patterns. Next would be RSI power zones advanced, then loss forecasting advanced. This is the best way for me to like map it out. Is this making sense? Please type Y in the chat. Yeah, cool. Other people do your trading plans too. Great. I didn't know that. I'm friends with those folks, so that's good to know. Do you have 1-day trial to stay in your live trading? No, I don't do trials, but I do money back guarantee. So if you join and for 30 days you're not happy, you can cancel yourself out in the portal. You don't have to email anyone. I don't do free trial though, because I want people who are serious. I want you to, I'm literally bringing you into my world, and every day, I mean, my SNPH Pro students know I really, even if I'm traveling, I write that. I took 4 days off for the first time this year, fully away from the markets for the wedding. Otherwise, I've been in front of the markets with you this whole time, okay? So I don't do a trial. I do a money back guarantee. So you can sign up for the first month, try everything, come to all the labs, get all the reports, go through all the education. If you're still not happy, you don't even have to email us. There's a billing portal. Like, my team thought I was crazy that I did this, but I said, what do I care? People aren't happy, let them leave, okay? So let me show you. S&P Edge Pro, this is the portal right here, okay? There's a whole billing tab in there. So this is a monthly membership. And if you go in there and you're a member, you get to control when you want to leave. I show exactly how to log in. You just need to keep your emails from when you ordered. You can manage, you can see your upcoming payments. You can also cancel. Now, if you cancel, we will reach out to you just to make sure you're good, but we're not going to pressure you back in. We can't we'll just check on you and make sure you meant to cancel. That's all. Okay. But you don't have to cancel. So this is all the stuff again. Just keep it there. So Kate, I have a live trading room on Tuesday mornings. I don't have one every day. The reason I don't have one day to day is because I haven't had a coach yet, but I'm finally working on training a coach. The coach I'm training, I don't know if she'll be the next coach. She's a hot commodity. She's a big Wall Street person, but she's like amazing. If I can afford her, I'll want to hire her as a coach. But even if I can't get her, I'm building the process of developing a coaching role on her, and then I can expand it to whomever. But they have to fit my requirements, Okay. We went a long time here, but I just wanted to give that extra insight for those of you who are curious about my product. So last call, if you have any last questions about your HimaReddy products or services, I'm done with the ticket requests. I did like 25 of them today. Exhausted, but I'm good. If you have any other questions, let me know. Otherwise, please, on your way out, drop your golden nugget. Type a Y in the chat if you found value in this session. And we will have them again in the future, but I already do so much coaching regularly that I can't have all tribe sessions all the time, okay? So if you want to join, then join the 4 Zones RSI coverage system, and then you get to come to these every week. So Bob asked, you recommend loss forecasting before GAN? Yeah, like generally speaking. But if you are more interested in GAN, you can do any of these things at a time and be fine. I just have seen how students learn, and they generally, I think it's an optimal learning pathway, but it's like you could do any of these in any order. Okay, awesome. Yeah, we've been recording, and so if it comes through, which I hopefully it will, we will post it to my YouTube channel, and we'll keep it up there for like a week. Not forever. Then it will go into the 4 Zones portal. So if you're a 4 Zones member, you'll have like long time access to this. Hank says, thanks for your time. Have a great weekend. Thanks, you too. Happy Easter to those of you who celebrate. Richard says, is reasonable to just do the advanced stuff and not the stuff in the middle? Yeah, I have students who jump straight to advanced. I will say for advanced loss forecasting, the foundation of loss forecasting is kind of important. It's not formally needed, but there are people who've jumped ahead and they're fine. It really depends on your trading experience too. Okay, Glenn says golden nugget trendline development, extremely helpful. Brad says, I always love your vibe and approach. You are so human and accessible. Thank you, thank you. Super great. I'm very happy to know you here. I'm happy to have you here, Brad. Thank you. Chuck says, will the ebooks be same as the courses? No, that's the simple answer. First of all, the Winning RSI playbook for most people is free. If I give you all the secrets of the universe in a free ebook, I can almost guarantee that you will not study it and revisit it and use it. And if you have questions, you won't have anywhere to go. So the ebooks give you useful information. We have people that love the ebooks, they benefit from them. You can make money with what's in there. But if you want a consistent approach and you want to be able to learn a skill, I'm trying to teach people skills. I'm trying to teach you how to think. I'm not saying here's an AI bot and just trade what it says. Nothing wrong with that. It's not my jam. If I make more products, they will just be spin-offs of these things, guys. They will be, I'm trying to develop an RSI Power Zone scanner for those of you who want the automation, but it's still going to require you to understand what you're looking at, All right, cool. Oh, awesome. Anne says, I've avoided many premature trades using the Power Zones indicator since I've joined. And that's awesome. I think you joined us in March, maybe, or February. It's just been around for a little bit, so that's great to hear. Awesome. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for the positive feedback. I appreciate it. And if you ever have things to say that are not pretty, send them to support@himareddy.com. That way the team sees them first, because I'm sensitive, but I'm a big girl. I can handle it. Okay. Great. All right. I've had you here long enough. I'm officially out of energy. David says RSI scanner sounds like a cool indicator. Yeah, I'm working on it. It's like, I don't want to have an in-house development team and software team. I just don't. Like, as my business has grown, and I love teaching you guys and I love presenting, but I realize I have 3 jobs now and I'm kind of tired. Trading is a job. Being CEO of a company is a job, and then being a coach is a job. I'm getting worn out because I'm not as young as I used to be, but I love them all. So my own business coach told me, you have to pick where you want the majority of your energy to go, Hima, right? And your time and your attention, and then everything else offload, delegate to your team, and hire additional coaches. Otherwise, you are just gonna like spread out apart. So, I'm a human being, so that's reality, but I'm not going anywhere. I love doing this. I just want you all to know there may be other faces here, right? I may show up to a monthly group coaching and be in the background and somebody else is running the coaching, things like that. Okay, Oscar says, got my ebook and getting the face off, ready to get studying. Who are your current active trading icons? I don't really have one. I mean, I get stuff on my social media feed just like you guys do, but I don't really have anybody that I'm like, oh, There's so many. There's so many. I do have a lot of shorts content I put now, but I need to catch up. But if you guys go to HimaReddy CMT in any of the channels, so I think I have this information if you want to look at it. And we probably need to bring this into our introductory emails. I keep forgetting. So let me just show you here a list. If you go to any of these channels on a daily basis, so do you see this list here? Facebook, HimaReddy CMT. Instagram, HimaReddy CMT. TikTok, YouTube. This is the channel where we're going to post this recording. Okay. youtube.com/HimaReddy CMT. And when I'm singing, it means I'm tired. Do you see that? That's where this will post. Okay. So it'll just be a long form video. So long form means, not a short 1-minute video. Okay. So right here on YouTube, it'll look like this. And when we post the video, it will post here, probably in the top left. Okay. So we'll let that process. I'm personally going to post it tonight, so the guys have these market answers to look at. And we'll go from there. Someone just told me I look very tired. Please take care and rest. I didn't think I looked that bad, but fine. It's hot. I need to put the air conditioning on. That'll help me. Oh, I have a lovely voice. Thank you, Brad. All right. That's it. 6:02. We've gone 92 minutes. Good luck. Regroup this weekend. Refresh. All right. S&PH Pro. I'll see you in the SPY ETF report on Sunday. I don't really do Easter. It's not, I'm Hindu. It's not my religion, but I have a lot of parties this weekend. So I'll be resting and relaxing and partying. ES report on Monday. The next group coaching is advanced monthly group coaching on April 30th. Monthly group coaching live on May 7th. So if you liked this today and you're not a member of any of my courses and you want to be back, then get yourself the 4 zones RSI covered system. Putting in the chat, making it really easy. It's the least expensive course I have right now when it's on special, and it has an indicator in it. That way we can hang out again in the future. All right, take care. Thank you so much, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.